So and then Honorable Shakil Mohammed, you have been, I think you were elected in 2005, and you've been in government 2005, 2010. No, he was not. 2005, he was not.
No cross-talking, please. In fact, I would say I would ask Prime Minister to address the chair and not Shakil Mohammed.
But no, but he was, yes, he was elected. Yeah, you are contesting that he was not elected. No, but he was elected. He was part of the government. Yeah, backbencher, but still. But he's a very forceful backbencher. Yeah, and maybe he has a better voice than other ministers at that time. But anyway, let me come to the Gambling Regulatory Authority. Now, of course, there has been a lot of criticisms with regard to the amendments that are being made to the GRA. Let me say that, first of all, we should not lose sight of the main purpose of the amendments, which is to combat the serious scourge that is undermining the very fabric of our society. That is illegal betting, money laundering, in fact, to whitewash proceeds of drug trafficking. We agree, because I heard a member of the opposition, the Honourable Leader of the Opposition has said that also. So these amendments relate to the banning of cash betting transactions, introduction of account-based betting, and reporting suspicious transactions. And I'm aware, of course, that there have been representations that have been made against those amendments from some quarters. And I wish to inform the House that those amendments will become effective by proclamation. Consultations will be ongoing with the MTC. MTC have issued a communique with other stakeholders so that there is a smooth implementation of those measures. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition and also Honourable Shakil Mohammed has spoken about the lack of expertise and experience at the GRA to regulate horse racing activities. But let me say, maybe I should remind the House that at that time, those days, there was the Horse Racing Board. And then the GRA was created and had taken over the functions of the Horse Racing Board. Because, in fact, we wanted it to be more efficient. And it has always been the case, Madam Speaker, that government nominates a chairperson and the members. And I don't want to go into any criticism, but just to remind honourable members, like on the under the previous government, because there has been a lot of critics against the present chairperson of the board. Well, under the previous government, we all know who was chairing the GRA. And I must say, Madam Speaker, I don't because there has been a lot of criticisms, I don't want to give any, information, but I was Minister of Finance at one time, together with the Labour Party. And we know who was chairperson of the GRA. And I can say the problems that I encountered in trying to put some order and the number of decisions that were taken at that time. I think Honourable Mohammed knows about it. I think. Therefore, and that person didn't have any expertise in horse racing. And all those people who have been nominated even before, because that is the case when the chairperson and the members are nominated. They don't necessarily need to be people from the horse racing industry. And they do not have to be, because there is going to be a direct conflict if they are involved in also horse racing and they are the authority. And in fact, this is the very problem, and I will have to go through the law so that people know about the purpose of having set up the Gambling Regulatory Authority. So, Madam Speaker, it is important for me to remind the House and members that the aim of those amendments is to ensure fairness, transparency, and integrity in the horse racing industry. That Mauritius Turf Club is the horse racing organizer. It is not the authority. I see as if there is a confusion that MTC is not the authority. How can it be the authority? It is, and MTC in its communiqué says that we are the sole recognized authority. I mean, in what kind of country are we living? They organize the horse races, and then they are also the sole authority. They are going to regulate themselves. I don't think that can be so. I was surprised too when I read the communiqué. They say that there's an international organization which recognizes them as the authority. I mean, we are a sovereign country. We know what kind of institutions we have to set up, whenever there is a need for a regulator, and therefore they cannot be the recognized horse racing authority. Now, the objects, it is important for me to quote, because there has been a lot of incorrect statements that have been made. Let me quote section 4. The objects of the authority shall be to regulate and monitor the organization of horse racing, promote public confidence in the integrity of the gambling industry and the horse racing industry, and ensure that gambling is conducted in a fair and transparent manner. And section 6, the board of the GRA shall have such functions as are necessary to further most effectively the objects of the authority, and in particular to ensure, I quote, to ensure that a horse racing organizer effectively discharges its responsibilities regarding the organization of horse racing in all its aspects, including safety, comfort, and standards of hygiene, security, discipline, and prevention of fraud. B, to ensure that there is transparency and good governance in the conduct of gambling, games, and so on and so forth. D, initiate, develop, and implement strategies conducive to the development of gambling, horse racing, and so on. And then E, coordinate with the police des jeux for the prevention of illegal gambling and other malpractices in any activity regulated under this Act, and for the detection of fraud in gambling, horse racing. So, Madam Speaker, this is, I mean, these amendments that are being made are in fact in line with the objects and the functions of the GRA. Now, with regard to fees, I must say this is what I have been informed, because myself, I don't know much about this horse racing. I've never been interested, but we have a duty to see to it that things are done properly and in the interest of punters, in the interest of the population. I am informed that on a number of occasions, the MTC has been acting arbitrarily against betting operators. There have been numerous complaints that have been registered by the GRA from betting operators, and this year the same arbitrariness has prevailed at the beginning of the racing season. The MTC and one operator could not agree on the quantum of the royalties, And the MTC has gone as far as preventing that operator, who is duly licensed by the GRA, from carrying out its business. Now, the matter was brought to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court has ruled that it is for the GRA to rule on this matter. And this is where I disagree with Honorable Shakil Mohammed. He has been honest to quote, to mention, first of all, that judgment, the case of SMS Parias against the Mauritius Turf Club and the Gambling Regulatory Authority. Now, what is the order? The order that has been given by the judge, and I read only the relevant part, I quote, all the points raised in support of the application concern essentially contractual rights, vide Section 33(2) of the Gambling Regulatory Authority Act, which are still being negotiated and which are still the subject matter of proceedings before respondent number 2, that is the GRA, which is, and this is the important part, which is vested with the statutory powers to regulate the issues raised by the applicant. Now, you have a judgment of the court saying that it is, when they interpret and they read the law, it is within the purview of the GRA to regulate such matters, and now we are being told, we are being criticized, why are we amending the law to make it clearer for the GRA, in fact, to regulate such matters. Therefore, Madam Speaker, as a result of this court order, the GRA has taken the decision, in fact, because GRA, they are not going to, it's not the board, they are not just going to have a look and decide on figures as has been stated before. In fact, they are going, if I'm not mistaken, probably they have already taken the decision to appoint a consultant to look into all the aspects of the royalty issue and to make appropriate recommendations thereon with a view to ensure fairness towards all the parties involved, including the MTC. I do not understand that. I mean, names have been mentioned. I have no agenda against whoever at the MTC. It is their business. They run they elect their members. They run the races, but they have to do it in a way that is transparent, that is fair, and that will not be conducive to certain, I would call that certain magouille, because we know, we are seeing in so many occasions, Madam Speaker, can you, they do it in an obvious manner. When you see jockeys, bookmakers, whining and dining, going on catamaran, celebrating. Can you imagine, Madam Speaker? There is, and people in that industry will know. There is a jockey who has ridden a horse and has lost the race, but has been celebrating with bookmaker, and even on the Facebook saying that we are celebrating for the winning of another horse. Can you imagine that? So what are they celebrating? You know, Madam Speaker, I didn't want to use that word, but it stinks. It really stinks. All these arrangements, everything that is being done. But that no one has said, unfortunately. You have criticized, you say that we are doing this and that for whether it is one person or whatever it is, but unfortunately, I would have expected members of the opposition to say the real truth, what is happening there. And you know, there is I'm not hitting against lawyers, but I mean, a lawyer is a member of MTC. The lawyer advises MTC on what sanction to take. The same lawyer forms part of the panel when there is an appeal from that jockey. How can you accept that? I did not want to go into all this today. I have other things to say. But the things that are happening, there's one jockey, he has been caught having taken drugs. A sample of his blood was analyzed and confirmed. And MTC has not done anything. He's been riding the horse. Madam Speaker, if I give examples of what is happening there, and when GRA, they want they point out that these are the things that are not correct, that should not be tolerated, and so on, and they fall on deaf ears. So, that is why, Madam Speaker, it is, I would say, necessary that we come with those amendments. There is a need to, I would call it in a way to clean the stables. But I don't pretend that we can do it alone. In fact, what I'm saying, we need to get the cooperation and the support of the MTC. This cannot be done by just regulating and so on. We need to get people who are honest, who want to really make the horse racing industry an industry where people would have trust and where, you know, races are not run as if in advance. I mean, some people would know exactly who is going to win, and we are talking about people. There's a very poor people who come and bet. They come probably during weekdays, I'm told. They come and watch the horses, the performance, how fast they run and so on. But at the end of the day, this is not what counts. It is what some people have decided who is going to win. And I don't want to mention the name of somebody whom we know very well who decides on who is going to win. Huh? So maybe I've gone a little bit more than what I should on this. Therefore, Madam Speaker, the MTC cannot be judge and party at the same time. And that is why the reasoning behind bringing, for example, the appeal committee under the purview of the GRA stems from this reasoning. The MTC cannot impose sanctions against jockeys and then appoint at the same time the appeal board panel to review those same decisions, and in which there are people who have been advising and who are sitting also on those panels. Now, the GRA, the mention has been made about this inquiry, the report of the inquiry. The GRA is not going as far as what the British commissioners have recommended in the report. These commissioners have recommended that all regulating and licensing functions of the MTC be removed, including licensing of jockeys, trainers, and the stewards function. Can you imagine, Madam Speaker, if we had to go along with what has been recommended by those experts, those horse racing experts? We would have created an authority, a horse racing authority, and to remove all these functions from the MTC and allow the authority to do all that. Therefore, it should be clear that the aim of the amendments as regards review of decisions taken by the MTC is only to ensure that the horse racing organizer effectively discharges its responsibilities regarding the organization of horse racing in all its aspects, including safety, comfort, and standards of hygiene, security, discipline, and the prevention of fraud as per the law. Now, the introduction of the players' card system, in fact, aims at preventing corruption and money laundering through the horse racing industry. It is certainly not intended, as has been alleged, to favor one operator. The system, in fact, will be in place only. The system will be in place only when all betting operators are ready for implementation. Therefore, how can it be to favor one operator? And I must say also that there has been the issue of will that in fact increase or favor illegal betting? Madam Speaker, illegal betting, this is something that we have to fight against all the time. Whatever we do, whatever system we put in place, there are still some people who would want to avoid, pour contourner la loi, les règlements, et pour faire illegal betting. But we have to fight that. Now, I think that will in fact answer the issues that have been raised. But let me say also that the Independent Horse Racing Authority would be footing the bill for those people who have carried on with their much criticized doings under the caveat of independence, without the GRA having any power to take remedial actions. Again, how could we accept that? And I must say, Madam Speaker, what the amendments that we are voting today is also in line with what has been done in the UK. Because in the UK, we are talking about the GRA fixing the fees, the licenses, and so on. Well, I want to reassure the MTC that they are not going to be strangled, that they are not going not to have any funds. Of course, the whole point is to come with a fair system of those bookmakers and whoever it is to pay their fees, and that money, of course, part of that money will be allocated to the MTC. So I hope that this answers the queries that have been made by the opposition.